You think if you just do more, give more, stay patient long enough, she'll finally see your value and start treating you the way you deserve. But the truth is, the more you do, the less she respects you. And you have been trained to call that love. Let that land for a second. Because what I'm about to walk you through is not another list of tips. It's not a trick you deploy on a Tuesday night when she's in a bad mood. It is a fundamental shift in how you understand yourself, how you carry yourself, and how you position yourself in every relationship you will ever have. This is the conversation most men never get to have. The one where someone sits across from you and tells you the uncomfortable, unfiltered truth about why disrespect keeps finding you and what the single most powerful move is that changes all of it. Not a speech, not a reaction, not an ultimatum delivered in anger. One move, and it starts inside you before it ever shows up in your behavior. Before we go deeper, if this channel has ever handed you a truth that someone else was too polite to give you, subscribe right now. Not for me, for yourself. Because you need a consistent source of clarity in a world that profits from your confusion. Hit that button and stay close, because what I cover here is the kind of content that recalibrates how you see everything. Now let's get into it. Here's what it really means when a woman doesn't respect you. It doesn't mean you're not good enough. It doesn't mean you're not smart enough, successful enough, attractive enough, or kind enough. It means she doesn't believe her own good treatment of you carries any real consequence. It means, in her emotional reality, she has calculated, consciously or not, that you will stay regardless of how she behaves, that nothing she does will cost her access to you, that your presence is guaranteed, that your patience is infinite, and that your standards, if you have them, are negotiable. That's called guaranteed access, and it is the silent killer of respect in any relationship. Here is the misconception. Most men believe that demonstrating consistent love, patience, and availability builds respect. They believe that the more they show up, the more she'll appreciate it. They believe that being the reliable, steady, endlessly giving presence in her life will eventually earn them the treatment they deserve. It sounds logical. It sounds noble. It even sounds romantic. It is none of those things. Not in the context of attraction and respect. Not in the real, unfiltered world of female psychology. Here is the hard truth. Unconditional availability communicates unconditional acceptance of whatever behavior you receive. And when someone knows you will accept anything, they stop being careful about what they give you. This isn't a character flaw in women. This is human psychology operating exactly the way it was designed to. We do not deeply value what costs us nothing. We do not protect what we cannot lose. And we do not respect someone whose respect for themselves is so low they'll tolerate anything to keep the peace. You have been told to be consistent. Nobody told you that consistency without standards is just another word for desperation. Why does this happen? The root cause goes deeper than the relationship you're in right now. It goes back to what you were taught, directly or indirectly, about what it means to be a good man. You were taught that a good man gives. A good man is patient. A good man doesn't make waves. A good man absorbs the storm and keeps smiling. A good man prioritizes her comfort above his dignity. A good man stays. A good man forgives. A good man never makes her feel like she might lose him, because that would be cruel, and good men aren't cruel. And so you gave, and forgave, and stayed, and absorbed, and smiled through moments that were slowly draining something out of you, something essential, something that, once gone, changes how you move through the world entirely. That thing is self-respect, and when you lose it, she can feel it, even when you can't. Here is what it costs you, and I need you to hear this fully, because this is the part men skip over. They want the solution before they've sat with the damage. The cost of tolerating disrespect is not just emotional pain. It is not just the resentment that builds quietly over months. The cost is identity erosion. You stop being the man you were when she first noticed you. You stop having the edge, the groundedness, the quiet certainty that made you attractive in the first place. You stop setting the tone in your own life and start reacting to hers. You stop leading and start appeasing. You stop choosing and start hoping. You stop being a man she can look up to and become a man she looks through. And here is the brutal irony. The moment you start tolerating disrespect, the thing that might have actually saved the connection, your sense of self, is precisely what you sacrifice to save it. You hollow yourself out trying to hold it together. And what's left is a shell of the man she originally wanted, wondering why she no longer looks at you the same way. Now for the reframe. And this is where everything pivots. Disrespect is not the problem. Disrespect is the signal. It is information. It is her behavior telling you something about the dynamic you have allowed to form. Not the dynamic you intended, not the dynamic you wanted, the one you allowed. And the difference between those two things is everything. Because if you allowed it, you can change it, not by changing her, by changing yourself, by recalibrating your own internal standard for what you will and will not accept, and then backing that standard with the only currency that actually means something in the economy of attraction: consequence. Real, felt, undeniable consequence. Not threats, not lectures, not emotional outbursts that she waits out and then dismisses. The kind of consequence that comes when a man simply stops being available to someone who hasn't earned his availability. The kind that comes when he redirects his attention, his energy, his presence back toward himself and his own life. The kind that comes when she realizes, maybe for the first time, that this man is not a guaranteed resource. He is a choice, and choices can be unmade. That is the one move. Withdrawal of effort as self-reclamation, not as punishment. Let me draw you a picture of the man who already lives this. He doesn't announce his standards at the beginning of every relationship like a terms and conditions agreement. He doesn't need to. You feel his standards the moment you interact with him, because they are embedded in how he carries himself. He speaks with an unhurried calm that communicates he has never been desperate for anyone's approval. He listens with full attention because he is secure enough to be present, but the moment the conversation shifts into disrespect, dismissiveness, or manipulation, something in him goes quiet. Not cold, not cruel, quiet. He creates distance the way a man closes a door, firmly, without slamming it. He does not chase. He does not explain himself to people who are not ready to hear him. He does not perform patience as a strategy. He is genuinely indifferent to outcomes he cannot control, not because he doesn't care, but because his peace is not held hostage by anyone else's behavior. He has a life, a real one, work he's proud of, a body he respects, friendships built on substance, goals that exist entirely outside of any woman's opinion of him. When she tests him, and she will, because they all do, he doesn't flinch. He doesn't scramble to prove himself. He doesn't suddenly do more to compensate. He stays exactly who he is. And that stillness, that immovable groundedness, is more attractive than anything he could possibly say or do in that moment. He knows that trying to convince a woman to respect him is like trying to argue someone into finding him attractive. It doesn't work. It never worked. It will never work. Respect, like attraction, is not a logical conclusion. It is an emotional response to a lived reality. And the reality he projects makes disrespect feel not just wrong, but genuinely unnatural. She wouldn't think to disrespect him because it simply doesn't fit the dynamic he's built. He is not a fantasy. He is a standard, and it is yours to claim. Now let's talk about what you actually do. Not theory, not philosophy. Real, specific, applicable action. First, stop explaining your value. Every time you sit down and try to convince her that you deserve better treatment, you are doing the opposite of what you intend. You are demonstrating that you believe you need her permission to matter. You don't. Your value is not up for debate. Stop putting it on trial. Second, stop being infinitely available. Answer messages when it's convenient, not the moment they arrive. Make plans when they align with your life, not the moment she suggests them. Let her experience what a man with priorities feels like, because right now she may have no idea. You are not playing hard to get. You are being hard to get because you actually have somewhere to be and something to build. Third, when disrespect happens, don't match it with anger and don't absorb it with silence. Acknowledge it once, calmly, directly. Say what it is without drama, without theater, and then let your behavior carry the weight. Pull back, redirect your energy inward. Let the absence of your usual availability be the message. Actions heard what words never reached. Fourth, go back to your mission, whatever it is, the project, the business, the craft, the physical transformation, the creative work. Go back to the thing that was yours before she entered the picture. Not because you're running from the relationship, because you are reminding yourself and her that you exist outside of it, that you are not an accessory to someone else's life. You are the main event of your own. Fifth, decide, not impulsively, not from anger, but deliberately, clearly, with full ownership of the decision. Decide whether this relationship, as it currently exists, is one you choose to remain in. Not because you have to, not because you're afraid of starting over, but because you genuinely choose it. And if the answer is no, then honor that. If the answer is yes, then choose it fully, but choose it as a man with standards, not a man with no alternatives. Here is the line that I want you to carry with you long after this video ends. A man who tolerates disrespect is not being kind. He is being cowardly about his own worth. And kindness directed at the wrong source is not a virtue. It is a surrender. The bravest thing you can do is decide that you matter, that your time matters, that your energy matters, that your peace matters, not as a negotiation tactic, not as a way to make her chase you, as a truth you actually, genuinely, bone deep believe about yourself. Because here is the identity reset that everything in this video has been building toward. You are not the man who begs for what he deserves. You never were. That version of you was built by fear. Fear of being alone, fear of not being enough, fear that if you held your ground, she would leave, and that her leaving would confirm every quiet doubt you've had about your own value. But here is what's actually true. The right woman does not leave when you have standards. She rises to meet them. The wrong woman does leave, and that is not a loss. That is a filter working exactly as it should. You are not for everyone, and everyone is not for you. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you stop contorting yourself into shapes that were never yours to hold. You are not broken. You are not too much or too little. You are a man who was handed the wrong map and spent years walking in the wrong direction. Today you get a new one. Stop tolerating what diminishes you. Stop pouring into containers that don't hold. Stop waiting for someone to give you permission to be the man you already know you're capable of being. The move is reclamation of your time, your attention, your standards, your identity, your life. If this reached something in you that needed reaching, subscribe right now. Every video on this channel is built for one purpose: to hand you the clearest, most actionable version of the truth, the kind that actually moves you forward, not the kind that just makes you feel temporarily validated. Real clarity, real growth, real change. Subscribe and stay in this community of men who have decided that average is no longer acceptable. You are the answer. You have always been the answer. Now act like it. Word count: 2,810 words.